are we going to talk about the Steve Poizner campaign? Is that what we're talking about now? I got to tell
briefly,
you,
and then
I got to tell you that I think that that his campaign has been horrible. And I mean, look.
Don't mince words, by the way.
No, I mean Poizner just doesn't ring true. As an observer of this stuff, he doesn't ring true. He's had an election day conversion. He's aggressively courted the base, and if you look at his at I mean, I covered the guy when he ran for assembly. I went down there and interviewed him, and he was running in a Democratic district and talking about how he was working to lower the vote threshold to raise taxes to pay for schools. And
this was 2004.
Yeah, and talking about his abortion record and how he was endorsed by not endorsed, but that pro-choice groups had celebrated his 100% record, and it just. That felt like the real guy when I was talking to him. And maybe it's just the one I met first, Maybe that was him in 2004. But voters can sniff it out. Voters sniff out look, Mitt Romney had the same problem when he was running. He governed as a moderate governor of Massachusetts and then wanted to be the conservative standard bearer. And it seems like the most cynical political maneuver to judge. Look, this seems like Steve Poizner making a judgment on where he thought the votes were in the Republican primary, going there and I would say alienating his core value. I'm making a judgment there. I don't know. I'm just talking about my observations of the guy, and then realizing there are no votes there and being stuck. And I think then you've got, if there's a moral in any of this, it's just be who you are. I mean, really. Just be who you are. That's my free political advice to anybody running for office.
But let me just back up out of that.
I was in the trees there, huh?
Yeah. And you're on the soapbox. So let me kick you off the soapbox just for a minute.
Did I say don't get me started?
Yes, you did. You did. You gave me fair warning. I just beyond that, and I think there's a lot of evidence that points to exactly what you're talking about. So I'm not going to take issue.
You're conceding the point.
Yeah, I'm not taking issue with any of that because I think a lot of observers wonder about all of this stuff. But backing up, I don't understand the campaign strategy, and that's I guess what the point I was making. I don't get the strategy, especially when this poll makes me wonder whether or not that campaign did enough focus group internal polling to figure out what issues to push on.
Exactly.
Because you're pushing an issue that you're calling amnesty, trying to use this term that this base who theoretically is your savior in the race isn't with you on.
Look, I'm at the point I don't want to pick on the Poizner campaign because it's like beating up on the weak kid.
Even though
on
I
the
think
playground.
you did for about 2 minutes. There.
No, but really, it's like, look, Meg Whitman knocked. If you're going to put this in boxing parlance, Meg Whitman scored some early shots and knocked him down early, and there was the promise from the Poizner campaign, hey, wait till we get going. People aren't paying attention. Man, this guy ain't getting up. I mean, this is starting to look like
people are
this is a
paying attention
knockout.
now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the primary is over.
You heard it right there.
Yeah,
Anthony York on April, it's April 8th. It's Thursday.
Yes.
April 8th / 9th.
Yeah.
Has declared the Republican primary for governor over.
I'll eat